Welcome to another 50 match summary. Every week I take a deck from the meta that you guys vote on the poll here on YouTube and run 50 matches on the standard ladder to kind of give you an idea of how the deck is performing. The idea to be to save you time and money, or to save your precious wild cards. If you're thinking about crafting something, I can kind of explore it for you. So this week, Azorius Mill or Azorius Control won the vote. And this one is for best of one. And we've got Get Lost. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to answer all of your opponent's threats and then win by killing them through mill. So, like, Get Lost is really good point removal. They get 2 map tokens. You get to destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. You've got the Sunset Revelry, which works really well against the early aggression, being able to spawn 2 1/1s and then gain 4 life as long as they have more creatures and more life than you. You don't usually get to draw a card, but sometimes you do. Faithful Mending is how you get your Mind Breakers into the graveyard, and it also helps stabilize by gaining 2 life. So you draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards, and then it has flashback, so you can play it again. And Temporary Lockdown is one of the many wraths that this list is running. So this one, when it enters, it exiles each non-land permanent with value 2 or less until it leaves the battlefield. So this can be absolutely devastating to any of the board flood strategies like the Boros tokens. It's pretty handy against the mono red as well as mono white. Celestis also helps you ramp to your higher cost cards because it is a mana rock, but it also lets you filter. So every time that it switches between day and night, and you can tap 3 and tap it to manipulate this as a sorcery, then you gain a life and you draw a card and then discard a card. And so this is another way that you can get your Mind Breakers into the graveyard, which we'll get to. Depopulate is a wrath. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card first, and then you destroy all creatures. You do not have any creatures on the battlefield that you care about, so this is fantastic, and why the deck is running 9 wraths. This one's running 2 Wandering Emperors. The previous list, if you go back last week, I talk about how the deck has evolved over time. Some lists were running 4 copies of Wandering Emperor because it is such a good answer to your opponent's plays. Being able to bring this in, exile an attacking creature and gain 2 life, and then the following turn either make a 2/2, and then that kind of kills your Wandering Emperor, or you can put a +1/+1 counter onto a target creature and it gains first strike until end of turn. And every once in a while you have the right circumstance where you can actually create a 2/2 with vigilance and block something and then give the +1/+1 or exile a tapped creature. I mean, like, there's some really interesting things that you can do with this, and it's a real pain in the butt to play against, because when your opponent has 2 double pip white untapped, you're like, oh man, they've got a Wandering Emperor, right? So this is one of your win conditions, Jace, the Perfected Mind. I've noticed this is really a target that a lot of people will attack instead of just letting it be. And so if you're up against Azorius Control, you shouldn't attack Jace. You should just go pressure their life total as much as possible, because the 6 life that Jace is like giving, if they attack Jace, not only is it giving 1 creature -3/-0, but then it's like 6 life that they're gaining from this card, right? And but this one's more of your win condition. You can tap -X, you can down tick it to mill target player 3 times X cards. So when it comes into play, it can immediately mill for 15. And so a lot of times when you're playing against Azorius Control 2, you want to be careful about how close you are to that 15-point mark. And then we've got Memory Deluge, which is another one that I've seen some lists running 4 copies of instead of just 2. After playing the deck, I do think that the Wandering Emperors and the Memory Deluges being at a lower amount is good for when you're up against the mirror match against Control. So hopefully I'll be able to catch some of that on the recorded matches for you in the gameplay after this. And then we've got Sunfall, which is one of the best wraths in the set. You exile all creatures, and then you get an incubator token where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. So it gives you a blocker later that you want to wait to transform into a creature so that they can't destroy it. And if they have something that says destroy target creature, it's not a creature, and you can activate it at instant speed and block with it. So be careful about not activating that too soon. You don't really need to pressure their life. You're going to win other ways. So be very defensive with your incubator token. And then last but not least, we've got Teresian Mindbreaker, and this is the one that I think is basically, they're playing 4 copies of the Teresian Mindbreaker instead of the 2 copies of the Wandering Emperor and the Memory Deluge. This helps speed the clock up, because otherwise you just have to like sit and mill and get them with multiple Jaces. So this speeds things up quite dramatically because it mills half of their library rounded up, and if you unearth it, it has haste. So you want to be careful about when you unearth this if they have removal. And like in the mirror match, you're really going to want to hold your get losts to kill the Mindbreaker at instant speed. And then, yeah, so when you attack, you mill half of their library rounded up. You're going to want to keep this in mind, though, that if you're up against like mono red, you don't necessarily want to do this until you're within striking range of killing them with Jace. Because some decks benefit from having stuff in their graveyard. Squee, for example, in mono red, then means that next turn that they can exile it and attack you with a 2/2 and spawn a 1/1, and then you'll have to use alternative resources to get rid of Squee, and it just keeps coming back at you, right? So be careful about when you use your Mindbreakers. In the mirror match against Azorius Control, you're going to want to be the first one to do the Mindbreaker. It's going to give them a Mindbreaker, but then if they do the Mindbreaker, you get more Mindbreakers, and it's just a race to see who can get to Jace first. As far as the lands go, it's pretty straightforward. We're just playing Azorius. There's nothing really crazy. We've got 2 copies of Field of Ruin, which is really nice against the Mishra's Foundries and Manlands that can be dodging your Wraths. And no manlands of our own, and then we've got Otawara and Agonjo, the legendary like channel lands, and because it's best of 1, no sideboard. So I'm going to show you my favorite matches from the 50, and at the end I'll go over a summary of how it did on the ladder. Enjoy. Okay, we're on the play. We've got both of our colors of mana. This looks like a pretty good starting hand. We have the Get Lost for some spot removal. We've got Jace to kind of like interact with our opponent's plays. And we've got the Faithful Mending to hopefully dig into our Mindbreakers. So we'll see here. I'll just start it off with the tap land. We don't have to. We could have played the double planes and then done this earlier. This sets it up so that I can at least Faithful Mending. And that's pretty good that we hit the Teresian Mindbreaker. It is instant speed, so I'm going to do it at the end of their turn. Looks like we're up against some form of Azorius. Manland makes me curious. Now, if they do counter this, we can do it again, but this sets up our Mindbreaker into the graveyard, which is okay to do early as long as you're not up against black with the Graveyard Trespasser. And so we'll see if they counterspell this. If they do go for the counterspell here, then... Interesting. Okay, so we're probably up against another control match, and that's unfortunate because I was thinking we would be able to at least flash it back. So I could play out Jace the Perfected Mind and start just milling them, since this will require an answer from them and we still have 1 in our hand. It's not super ideal, but it is a draw. No secret escapes. Okay. Counter target spell. So we've got the loop. This is just strictly Azorius Control. Lots of counter spells. We'll have to be careful about when we actually get that in. And being able to do the Mindbreaker here would be excellent. Can't do that. And we can't really cycle very well because the Sunset Revelry, it gains us life. That's it. Doesn't create any creatures. It's kind of a problem. Okay, we've got the Get Lost, which can destroy an enchantment or a Planeswalker, so it can't kill the Realm Breaker, which is going to start to mill us and ramp them. Yeah, we really need to be able to discard these. I don't want to just waste my Jace here, I don't think. And this is awkward because they're just drawing a whole bunch of crap and they're going to start hitting us with Mirrex. As soon as they get the Mirrex out, though, then we can start doing the Sunset Revelry. And this can explode for a fair amount of damage as long as we play around their counters. Okay, there's one Mindbreaker. So they're likely to use some sort of interaction here against the Mindbreaker. And they didn't make a Mirrex. I think they could have last turn. Oh, they went for the mill on Realm Breaker. Alright, we got a Gonjo, which does not help us. Now, what's kind of awkward here is that if I go for the down tick, they can create a at the end of turn, create a 1/1 might, and then that 1/1 might kills Jace. So we're not going to do that. We can't use this until we get 3. Now, we can do the temporary lockdown to remove the Myrixes that they create. They've also got the Restless Anchorage, so hitting the field of ruin is kind of weird, kind of awkward. All right, well now we've got the Faithful Mending, which is pretty nice. The more Mindbreakers we can get into the graveyard, I think the better. I'm not sure if this Azorius list is running the Farewells. If it's running the Exile all graveyards, then we're kind of in trouble. I can hit him with even just one Mindbreaker, it makes our Jace a lot better. Okay, so now that that's a land, before we pass to attackers here, we're going to shoot this. See if they go for a counterspell. Counterspell would be great because then it allows us to get the Faithful Mending off without a counter. And hopefully draw into blue. Okay, they did not go for a counterspell. Alright, we got the Memory Deluge. Realm Breaker is being a big problem, huh? Alright, let's see if they have counterspells for 1 here. Dang, no, where's their blue? Where's their blue mana? I think maybe putting all of our Mindbreakers is a little bit all eggs in one basket kind of thing. I think I'm actually going to get rid of like the temporary lockdown. It's like we already have enough in our graveyard, right? Alright, so this allows us to go here, take some damage, hopefully this gets down. Alright, so that was huge. There we go. So they've got a bunch of Memory Deluges, that's fine. They're at 23. I could just go for the mill. I could just go for milling them for 12. And then they're at 14. And then it's just a game about whether or not we can get these Jaces down. Mill for 20. Kind of think maybe we do that. This will draw me 3 cards. I can't quite double spell. Double spell on Jace would mean they'd have to have 2 counter spells. All right, maybe I go this way. What are we at? We're at 35.
I will clear your...
Okay. I want to hold on to 1 Mindbreaker in case they have some sort of removal. Sunset Revelry feels really bad here. So does the Temporary Lockdown. I have to discard another one? Oh no, I just have to discard 1. We'll just go with the Temporary Lockdown then. Those 3 cards, they're at 19 right now. That would put them at 16. This is what I mean by the Mindbreakers being pretty good against the mirror match. So if we didn't have the Mindbreaker, we'd have to be waiting to get these Jaces to be more lethal threats, and it would just allow our opponent to counterspell a little bit more readily. So hopefully we can get some counterspells out with like another Mindbreaker here, for example. Now we could try to go for lethal. We could make them mill the 6. And then, see, they've got 6 cards in hand though, so I'm worried that they just got a whole bunch of counterspells lined up. See if they counter this. I'm going to try to bait some out. Okay. Now if they have a way of looping their crap, I'm going to be really upset. Okay, so that's 6. We can put them to 3. Should I go for the inevitability, or like, do you think they can like loop themselves here? Or should I have waited on that? Maybe they could counter that.
Surrender every
Okay.
last thought to Phyrexia.
I could try to go for the mini Jace. It would come in with 3, which would allow us to do 9, which would be lethal. So they have to counterspell this. Sure, let's make them do it. I guess if they have a counterspell that allows them to loop the stuff back onto their graveyard, then just maybe not playing anything was the way to go. And then they have a 3-turn clock. Because this might actually just extend things rather than actually make it closer. Okay, Syncopate's fine. It's not Devious Cover-Up. I'm at 28, so I'm not in danger of getting one-shot by Jace. Does this do anything other than mill? Does it... Oh, tap 10, sacrifice it, search your library for any number of Praetor cards. Okay. That could be an issue. Maybe they have something... Oh, but that's their library. They don't have a library. Okay, they're down to 2 cards now. I think I'm just going to try to be defensive here and not do anything. Because, like, we could try to go for Jace, but I'm a little bit worried that if I go for the Jace here, that they're just going to use Devious Cover-Up. I don't think we're at risk of dying. So I think I'm just going to pass here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. So if they need the Realm Breaker to win, they're going to get it. Guess they could always counterspell their own thing. Alright, they're get 1 card now. I'm honestly trying to think how they could get back into this. If they have the Devious Cover-Up, then they could do their own thing. They could, like, counterspell their own thing, right? 1 Devious Cover-Up, 2 Devious Cover-Up. Can't remember how many of the list is actually running. One card remains. So I'm not going to give them anything to counter, because I want them to have to double spell. It's gonna be close, right? Because like 23, we go to 20, they can hit us for 7. They can hit us to 17, and then if they go like double Jace, we're kind of in trouble. Because I don't have a counter spell. $20. Okay, here we go. Yeah, like create another one that's not lethal threat. All right, they've got a loop. Maybe it was actually right to do the Mindbreaker. I should have discarded the Mindbreaker so that I could go Mindbreaker and Jace next turn. If they do, because if this way, if they block the mill, I'm in trouble. So, okay, so they have Jace. They have 2 Jace.
Phyrexia's plans are already in motion.
This requires 2 to activate. I guess I don't have an answer to this if they have double Jace. There we go, we got a Mindbreaker of our own. Down to 5. This is gonna be so close. Like, okay, yeah. Maybe it was, no, this is enchantment, I can't hit that. Down to 2. Oh man, do they pop Field of Ruin to pray that I have like basics left? No, they don't have two. They had another Jace, they would have just slammed it by now, right? Wait, okay, that just means they're dead. That's fine. Unless I have something for 0, right? Oh, they're already at 0. This doesn't do anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing cards that don't do anything. They should just lose here. The control mirror. The one that I was hoping to record is the first one. Let's go. Alright, we're on the play. We've got both colors of lands. We've got Get Lost and Temporary Lockdown, Celestis, Wandering Emperor. Seems good. Start off with the tap land. Followed up with the Seachrome Host. Debate whether or not we use the Get Lost. Wipe their board on 3. This looks like Azorius Soldiers. Okay. Azorius Soldiers is good. Should be able to get a juicy wrath on them. Kind of figured they'd be doing a Thalia. Now we Get Lost if they play Adeline. I guess Adeline's the humans, huh? Same. We Get Lost the Siege Veteran. Anything that's a 3-drop, right? Sunset Revelry and try to get them to play into it more. But I think I'll just go with wiping Thalia. It's fine. It gets rid of their map tokens too. It's a fun little interaction. And then like next turn we can go Celestis Sunset Revelry. Unless they keep playing Thalias. See, I was kind of thinking we'd use the Wandering Emperor on something that the temporary lockdowns don't hit. So I think I'll just go for it again. And then maybe they play like Sky Strike Officer or... Yeah, okay. That's a better Wandering Emperor target. So that would give me a total of 3 mana. So we can't do the Celestis and Wandering Emperor. Answering all of our opponent's threats. And this is where they have a Make Disappear if they're playing the Flash list. This looks like the Valiant Veteran list that's going to create... you know, just focus on multiple soldier synergies. So now they could bounce it back with the Zephyr Sentinel. That's fine.
Try not to miss me. My judgment is final.
Actually, I think I like Celestis activate immediately. And then just dig. Because, like, the island's not really helping us. Alright, now that we've disrupted their stuff, now we need to actually close out the game. And this is where, like, I think once again the mind breakers are worth it for this strategy. Because I think soldiers would actually eventually outgrind us here. Another Thalia. Really? Well, Sunset Revelry is going to be good eventually. Guess I'm just going to go with the Wandering Emperor and eliminate their Thalia. Oh yeah, because I have the 7 for the Celestis, so I can do that and then also do the Faithful Mending after the Thalia is gone. Okay, and then we'll discard Plains. Ideally hit some Mind Breakers would be nice. Ask and you shall receive. Let's go. Okay, Valiant Veteran is a bit of a problem. Still focused on my strategy here. Which is delay, delay, delay.
I hope you're ready. You are not much of a roadblock.
So now this one, the soldier list, I don't think has anything terrible or terrifying in the graveyard. I mean, they've got the Valiant Veterans on 5 that they could activate. Oh man, can we kill him in 2 turns? So 45 would round up to 46, which would be 23. So they'd have 23 cards. So we can't do it. All right, let's just go for the Sunfall then. Nice and easy. Okay, that's enough board wipes. We should be okay. I'll even go for the greedy plus on the Wandering Emperor instead of creating a minus or creating a 2/2.
Remember your training.
It was good to do it in my in-step, otherwise I could have done Sunset Revelry in response. So if they double spell, they naturally flip things for us. They did not. I don't think I want to activate this. Okay. That's within striking range now, though. This draws us a card. And we can still Mindbreaker. Nice.
May your blades.
I think I'm okay with them pumping their board, because then I can just go... Like, I could just Sunfall here. Actually, just Sunfalling here makes it pretty hard for them to get back into this, huh? I don't know. I'm gonna go for the Mindbreaker. And let them build up the board a little bit. Yeah, because that gives them some stuff to work with, right? I don't know, that might have actually been wrong. Like I said at the beginning, you want to be careful about when you like do the mind breakers. It might be better to secure Jace in hand first.
See you later.
This is pretty ideal though. Okay. So Mindbreaker puts them at 10 cards, which is in striking distance. But I think this is the point where we gotta Sunfall everything, right? And they're done. Alright, we're on the play. We've got Tranquil Cove, tap land into Field or Ruin, which means we can't do our 2-drop with Faithful Mending. Gamble. As long as we hit a land, we'll be okay. That counts. Alright, come on, opponent, what you doing? Oh, just a pass, huh? Cleric. Oh, we've just got to keep hitting our land drops and everything should be okay. Alright, so is this Orsov Clerics? Cavernous Souls, just white. Huh. Come on, land. Okay, there is some land. Sunset Revelry is still looking pretty good. We want Jace. Jace is like a win condition. Since we already have everything, I think it's going to be the Celestis. So that's like a land drop next turn, though. Maybe it should be a land, then. Fewer. Okay, we don't go with that. And I guess we're not getting aggroed hard enough to care about the Sunset Revelry. Well, we could also just race them, right? Because they have to kill me. If I just go Mindbreaker, that's 25, and then Mindbreaker again, and then Jace is lethal. I think we have enough to just pressure him. Okay. So is this the 5-color humans list? No. Or maybe like a chunk of it? Okay, Knight Errant Vios was an excellent thing to see. Unless we're dead next turn. which if they had a board pump would be 4 damage, 8, 9, 11, 13. So I think we're okay. I think we just win here. And this is kind of what's nice about the Mindbreaker is that it's a little bit of a broken record, right? But like this at least gives us, instead of just playing Depopulate and going like super grindy, this creates a faster win condition, right? Because now, outside of them having removal for this, we just have them destroyed. And it's not necessary, because we could have depopulated, and I think we'd be pretty well off, even if we just tried to like dig to our depopulates, like old school Azorius Control. But I like it. It's a quality of life improvement as far as somebody who's trying to grind out all of the games. We did this through Athalia too. GG.
Cannot win.
Okay, keep. We got a decent hand. Blood Tithe Harvester, huh? I think I like the Faithful Mending here. This looks like it's going to be the Rakdos Discover deck again. Ooh, double Blood Tithe Harvester. Alright, alright. I like that. We are definitely doing this and then doing the temporary lockdown. That is happening. Mindbreaker in the graveyard's probably okay. If they have the Graveyard Trespasser, it kind of sucks. Sunset Revelry, I feel like is better against the aggro. I think this is more mid-range combo-y. Could be the temporary lockdown. Depends on if we think we're gonna be able to get additional stuff. Because like, what's the likelihood that they drop another like 2 Blood Tithe Harvesters or something, right? So it might have been right to keep the Sunset Revelry over the temporary lockdown. Okay. Hopefully they keep that up and just keep attacking with the Restless Fence, because you can kill it with the Get Lost or the Field of Ruin. 2 blue, so we can't do the Mindbreaker. So that's gonna get rid of Jace. Dang, you know, that Cruelty of Gix, man, that's rough. So then I'm gonna get a Trumpeting Carnosaur. I'm gonna do the Memory Deluge here. Depopulate was seemed ineffective against the strategy, so I don't think I want the Depopulate. Fewer. I think I just go land to Get Lost here. Oh no, wait, I need to play the Otawara. Wait, is the Otawara good against bouncing the Trumpeting Carnosaur? Not really, because of the Discover. This deck is tricky, man. This deck is a problem. And like, this just fuels their Cruelty of Gix, so I'm not sure this is right either. I don't know how this deck beats Rakdos midrange. Maybe get some low enough life? Maybe it actually wins through damage? That would be crazy. Alright, Seachrome Ghost is late. There are 8. Memory Deluge would be nice, but we don't have it. We might as well do the tap land. Sunset Revelry for blockers. Why did that draw a card? Okay. It draws a card if you have... If an opponent has more cards in hands than you. I guess they did when I did that, huh? So, in all of this, we gave them plenty to hit, right? Maybe this deck doesn't run a whole lot of... Oh yeah. Hey, Shieldred's decent. I'm gonna go Get Lost and then Get Lost on Shieldred. Depends on if I need to use Get Lost on that. I don't think I do. think I'd rather use Get Lost on the Bonehorde Dracosaur. Wait, what happened to their Bonehorde Dracosaur? Turned into a Preacher of the Schism. So that's a 3-drop, that's a 4-drop, that's a 5-drop. So we need to hit like a Wrath. It's probably right. Well, no, Faithful. Okay, so we've got to Get Lost, Shieldred, and then draw into something spicy. They're at 20 cards. It gets them to 5. And then we can like Memory Deluge maybe. Alright, so that gives me 6 mana. I think what I do is I Get Lost. Temporary Lockdown gets rid of their 1/1s. They're not getting card draw off of the Preacher. I think I go here onto Geological Appraiser. Gives them a ton of map tokens. I wonder if I'm supposed to draw 3.
I'll take note of all your failures.
It's like if I can get them to attack me,
I know where to find all.
I guess I need to check whether or not I have a Jace left. I have 2 Jaces left in the deck, okay. Okay, so then Jace here, hopefully they attack Jace with Preacher of the Schism, because they kind of have to. Okay, this is far less impressive without the trumpeting Carnosaur. What, is this just a glitch then? They're down to 15. So if I hit, I just need to draw into Jace. We're just doing 1 Faithful Mending anyway, so I can play the tap land. Alright. Restless Fence. Can you close the game? Okay, there's the Trumpeting Carnosaur. Creature, Enchantment, or Planeswalker. Sure. Maybe they'll help me and discard my Mindbreaker. Now I get a fair amount of draw to try to find the last 2 Jaces. Or an answer to the Trumpeting Carnosaur. Okay, this is good too. Every dig helps. Oh, another Carnosaur, huh? Okay. Life from the Faithful Mending is gonna be oh so critical. 2 or more other lands, fine. Better than a Darker Waste. We want the Mindbreaker in the graveyard. Damn. Well, Memory Deluge pretty much all but guarantees that we're gonna hit. We've got Faithful Mending into Memory Deluge, and all we have to do is hit. Oh no, wait, I needed another land in hand. No, I don't. I'm good. What am I thinking? So we Memory Deluge and then we Faithful Mending. We're at 15 HP. And Carnosaur, like, doesn't have Trample. Or doesn't have Haste. So then we just need to find in 7, 9, in the top 9, there has to be a single Jace. I'm game. Let's go. They didn't activate a land, so that's good. So we had the Field of Ruin. Uh-oh. That is not a Jace. This stalls a turn. Okay. And another Carnosaur. These games, man, this is what, like, Control is such a long grind, man. Okay, so now we get a Sunfall. There's Jace. That does it. That's a win, right? Whew, okay, we're 1-for-1 with the Rakdos Discover deck. Okay, we're on the play. We've got a tap land, both their colors, got a Faithful Mending, Sunset Revelry, and Wandering Emperor. So that seems good. Start off things with the Tranquil Cove. Ah, mono red. Okay, well, against mono red, we definitely want both Sunset Revelries, which makes the Faithful Mending kind of awkward. I'm not even sure we actually cast it because we're doing the Sunset Revelry next turn and we want to gain the 4 life. Pretty sure. And we get a card draw off of it. Squee. Is that the most broadcast Wandering Emperor? The answer is yes. I'm just using the 1/1s to block because if we play the temporary lockdown, it gets rid of the 1/1s. So I'm just saving life if they're a resource that's going to get eliminated anyway.
This is what you get for hurting my people.
And then, like, look at this. They have a Felden, and we have another Sunset Revelry, and we're at 19 HP. Sometimes it's just not fair. And we get the draw on the card. Yeah, buddy. I think they're going to have a pretty hard time getting back from this. Yeah, Lightning Strike to face. Okay. So, Bloodthirsty Adversary, because its Battle Cry is a 3, means that Temporary Lockdown is going to remove it. It's fine. I think I give them the dig with Felden. I guess I don't need to because it just gets wiped. I guess this is fine, actually. We don't even need to use it. Yeah. That was a massacre. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. That was one hell of a grind. It was a bit slow, right? So it did well, though. 58% on the play, 54% on the draw. It's one of those that, like, there are some matchups where I almost prefer to be on the draw, like especially if you're up against another really controlling deck. If you're up against a mid-range deck, you're really going to want to be on the play. So, but either way, you know, positive on both is decent, right? I do feel like it was relatively matchup dependent. It absolutely destroys mono red, which is excellent because it's the most common matchup on the ladder. And then it did really well against Azorius Soldiers, depending on... Like, Azorius Soldiers can rebuild. It depends on whether or not you get your Wrath off before they get the dig with the 4/4 that draws more cards, right? And, like, some Azorius Soldiers aren't even running that. So if it's the really creature-forward one, I feel like it's at least a 50-50, right? And then the other Azorius Control decks that we played against, I felt like we were at an advantage. The Mindbreaker race, I did lose one where they were on the play and they Mindbreakered me first. Other than that, though, I think we beat all of the alternative versions of Azorius Control that aren't doing the mill strategy, that are just heavily into counterspells, as long as you play around those. It crushed mono white. The board-centric strategy of mono white just doesn't really do the trick against Azorius Control. It did well against the Rakdos Discover deck. I didn't feel like that one was particularly bad. And it did okay against the Golgari mid-range deck. It did not do very well against the Gruul Combat Tricks deck, surprisingly, which I thought it would have, but it's just like they're able to get enough threats that you kind of have, like, as long as they're making you use your Wraths for one target, then you're not doing particularly well. Same with the Boros. The Boros Tokens deck I did punt one of these games, but it did kind of feel like I was disadvantaged because they're just able to rebuild after your if they play a single Sanguine Evangelist, you feel like you have to use a Wrath to get rid of it, and that's no good, right? And then like even if they have only 4 threats, being able to pump everything with the Imidane's Recruiter, doesn't matter if you in response use Get Lost, it's still just like a good board pump. Lost 2 matches against Mono Black, lost 2 matches against the Esper mid-range deck, and then like the rest of it is just kind of noise. So all in all, you know, for 6 hours and 20 minutes, like if I'm going to play a game, if I'm going to play, I could have played 100 matches in the time that it took me to play 50, right? And so the question is the deck winning enough that your differential is twice as much as it would be with a different deck? And as you can see, the answer is no. Right? Like if I played Gruul Combat Tricks, which took 2 hours to run, I'd be able to play 150 matches, and it had a better win rate. So it really depends on what your style, though, what you're trying to get out of it, what you like to play. And so, you know, I give it a solid like tier 2 or a B for grinding the ladder. And I can't remember your name, but somebody asked about whether or not it was worth crafting the Teresian Mindbreaker. After playing the 50 matches of the deck, if you're really sold on doing the Azorius Control Mill strategy, I do feel like they are more advantageous than running the double Memory Deluge and the double Wandering Emperor. I'll do my best at showcase. Hopefully I caught enough games that kind of showcase why that was. But a lot of times Memory Deluge felt too awkward or too slow to actually get a lot of value off of. And then Wandering Emperor too, similarly, like Wandering Emperor is great. You're not going to be sad if you have it, right? But it didn't help me win the game like the Teresian Mindbreaker did. And so that's my two cents on the topic or whatever. So thanks for watching, and remember to hit like and subscribe if this is your jam. I try to do one of these at least every week. And so look for the poll on Sunday, as well as my meta review. I do a meta review where I break down all of the top performing decks in best of 1 and best of 3 every Sunday. So take care, everybody, and maybe I'll see you on the ladder.